ID.
He might be having trouble coming home from work late. He has done it before. And we're up. Live. I like that. Capitals. Are you joining us? Because he's far away in case he can't hear. Which is hilarious because it's text.
Remember, those words are small, but those are far away.
We're already onto the cross-range, I think.
Yep. Well, may as well start as we intend to keep going.
So you're a racist now, Ted? Oh, he's in Italy this week. Well, that's an excuse, isn't it? It's a good one. But it's still an excuse. Never mind.
Oh, he's running tomorrow's Guys Night game. He's got the server for Stellaris.
Did tell me on Friday. Well, of course I forgot. It's me. How long have you known me? You can't hear me, can you? Why am I yelling at somebody who's not even here?
This is very far away.
Yeah, good point. I don't know, Ted. This guard business. I'm not entirely sure it's right.
Would like to go to Italy one of these days.
I'm not sure I would. Pickpockets.
Not the architecture. Just
Architecture,
stay away
yes,
from
but then you get bumped into by people who are trying to lift your wallet.
Hmm. Well, what, for the whole country? That's a little bit tarring them with the same brush.
Yeah, it is.
Italy, nothing but the pickpockets, according to Matt.
And with the mafia.
That's Sicily.
Yeah.
Still in Italy as well.
You can't. Yeah, to be fair, you
Now-
can't just tar the
I'll say
an
now for a good
entire
while.
race with the same brush. That's what fake Romulans do.
Yeah, alright, I'm being very generalist. I apologise to all our Italian friends and family out there. It's just, I suppose, proprietary jealousy. You do have such very pretty places. We have hills
Anyway, on.
and grass.
Mountains in some places.
In any hoops.
Not good mountains.
Tell the Pope I said maybe. Well,
He'll know what it means.
yeah, he knows what he did. Actually,
David
we all know what he did, and so does Trump. But before I go anywhere close to that anthill, let's...
I was going to say, like, you're turning him. You're not saying yes to being offered cardinalship.
I think I would be the worst possible cardinal. I'm
Well, not
already
you,
a Discordian Pope.
I'm sure.
Although, as a
You're a
Discordian Pope, I do have the power to make anybody else a Discordian Pope. So, yeah, just
Make the new Pope a Discordian Pope.
yeah, I could.
Yeah.
You know what? I
I'm
might
not going
try.
to go into this rabbit hole and asking until we're off the air.
Yes, best not. I'm probably digging my own proverbial here. But, nevertheless, can I confirm that everybody is signed in who wants to be?
Yes.
Everybody
Yes.
who wants to hear Sirenscape can.
No, I was about to say we're missing a Webby from Star Trek. So we're going to do a round robin of
Streaming
whoever
on
beat.
Moonbeam, by the way, or not?
Beg pardon?
Are you streaming on Moonbeam?
Apparently.
Moonbeam.com. Should be, because I'm looking at Moonbeam now.
I can't see him. Where is it gone?
Stand by, folks. We'll be back with you in just a moment, as soon as Webby finds me.
I think he's somewhere in Wales.
Tell you what, we'll throw this into the intro video and we'll see if Webby can't find me by the time we get back. Excuse me? I would, but then Discord... Hello folks, and welcome to the continuing adventures of the USS Navis. I'm MJ, the GM, and I will be your games master for the next couple of hours. With me are most, but not all, of the Navis crew, because our executive officer has decided that these guys are far too much trouble, and he needs a break. So he's gone to Italy. So everybody wave to Vipers. He's probably gone to meet his criminal contacts. Nevertheless, welcome. So, let's get things started by going to the bridge. Righty-ho-ho. Now, in case we forgot, which I'm fairly certain we haven't, about, I think it's 2 weeks of game time. Let me have a quick check. Yes, indeed. Actually, let me quickly wind that back, because I might be looking at the wrong thing. I am looking at the wrong thing. 1, 2... No, I am right. 2 weeks. 2 weeks of in-game time have elapsed since the Navis managed to escape from that destroyed battlefield, where they had been mobbed by the Dominion. And this was, of course, how they had survived by essentially salvaging parts from other ships and bolting them into the destroyed and damaged systems of their own. Then, of course, we had that hilarious debacle with the computer upgrade. So the Navis continues to trundle along.
Jettisoned from the crew.
Well, not exactly jettisoned, but very much demoted. And reprimands.
I thought she was being transferred as well. Fair enough.
Well, last I heard, it wasn't actually going to be transferred, but it was more of a threat than anything else. But for the time being, she's still on the crew. Unless you do actually want to have Fizal transferred to another ship.
Well, the person that suggested it isn't here, so...
What about the captain?
Sorry?
The captain was the one who issued Fizal the reprimand and the demotion, so were you looking to get Fizal transferred off ship, or keeping her?
I think that she will be returned to the starbase for the interim period.
Okay. So let's take her off the crew temporarily then. Cool. Spit spot. Doodly doodly doo. Ba 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 ba. Right. So I'm going to start things off just with a minor modification here. To start us off with Lieutenant Monod. Chief Science Officer's log, stardate 51194.4. It's been a week since that debacle with the, quote, upgrade, end quote. And things are getting back to some sense close to normalcy. Fizal is gone, which is a shame, but things are operating a lot better in the science department now. Although, every now and then I chance across a look from in-call or in-lus that seems, I don't know, sad? Concerned? In any case, Lieutenant Kirst has been earning her way to her next promotion. She's been hard at work ensuring the main computer that we salvaged from the Thorn and the Belfast are able to work with our somewhat unique setup here on the Navis. We still get occasional glitches here and there, but she seems to be on top of it. Ask her about it, though, and she insists that she couldn't manage without Unit Hello's help. In order to create a more stable bridge between our standard Starfleet computer setup and the Navis's unique system requirements, the AI has been doing a lot of heavy processing lately. Finally, whether for good or ill, the Navis has been placed on a standard science mission. Personally, I'd rather this than having to go back into combat. I'm not sure how well the ship would take to the stresses of conflict so soon after being rudely refitted back together. 2 weeks isn't nearly enough time to fully repair a ship of our size. Perhaps that's why we were posted out here. Maybe they think we need more shakedown time. Or maybe Blackford has been circulating his rumors again that the ship is held together with stem bolts and good intentions.
I think you'll find that it's rugs and rivets. A rug literally ties a room together, Lieutenant.
Some of us, however, feel that this posting is punishment for the captain giving regular earfuls to the Admiralty, and they finally decided she needed to be as far away from them as possible to cool off. Who knows? Personally, I prefer going back to our default setting as explorers, and staying here for as long as we can. So, hereupon we find ourselves. So, things are proceeding on the Navis as you might expect. Standard science mission. It's there on the side of your screen if you want to give that a read. Although my face might be in the way of it, so I will read this out. Head of Science Log Supplemental. I need to stop doing these logs on the bridge in front of the captain.
Oh, by the way, before we get into things, is it a large milestone to add another focus, or is there a limit on how many focuses I can have?
No, I believe you are correct. Large milestone can add a brand new focus to the list you already have, yes.
Given he's been messing with coding a fair bit recently, especially while he'd like to get into electronic warfare,
If
I
you
have an
want to
idea for
slap that
something.
in and make a note of it in your character notes, that would be grand. Something you might consider taking then, electronic warfare. Okay.
That's good. Because it made sense in my head, because he's been doing a lot with that kind of thing, hacking,
Yeah.
with the hacking thing, so it makes sense to actually take it.
Yes. So that's not a bad choice at all.
70 spent, 77 spent.
Nice.
Okay.
So, the captain gets her daily report on the Dominion War. Things are actually looking up for a change. Apparently, Farless Minor, an independent world, requested military aid from the Federation. Captain Picard, Captain Fortok, and the USS Merlin were the ones to respond, and the planet is now in the process of negotiating membership with the Federation whilst defensive measures are being constructed. Apparently, a secret weapons research facility was discovered in Shigura BZC-677. Orion privateer Rayner assisted the USS Essex to locate and destroy it. The IKS Mapui, as well as the USS Alba and the USS Stargazer, commanded by Commander Gatrell, were sent to investigate Starbase Sierra going silent. They were able to repel the Dominion forces that had attacked and infiltrated it. The USS Randar's Curiosity, the USS Appalachia, and the USS Lexington, accompanied by Dr. Curtis Des Moines, investigated the disappearance of planet Monaldi 7. The planet was found to be out of phase, which was later resolved, though with great effort. The USS Concord and the USS Wraith conducted a raid into enemy territory and successfully destroyed the enemy flagship that was found patrolling the Juria system. And finally, on the quiet, there are unconfirmed reports of a certain Starfleet intelligence agent by the name of Natalie Sigmund being spotted somewhere in the conflict salient itself. Unconfirmed. And so, we can dive quickly in to our favourite, science!
Aperture science.
So, down to the botany research lab on Deck 8. Lieutenant Monod is, of course, very happy to be assisting in this particular field of investigation for Dr. Bertram's latest scientific experiment. And they were starting to make a certain amount of headway. What was that, sorry?
We say latest. It's been going on for quite a while now.
Yes, but it's now this particular avenue of investigation that you are partaking in. The quantum mechanics side of things.
Yeah.
Especially because, A, Mr. Monod does have a focus in quantum mechanics. B, as he quite rightly pointed out, what Bertram is attempting to create appears to be very similar to the phenomenon that happened at a previous episode where, if I remember, it was... Ooh, no, I don't remember. What is the name
Is it the one with the big biotech ship that we encountered a while back?
Yeah, as it was... Ooh, words are completely leaping out of my brain and leaving nothing behind but awkward pauses. Silicon particles were somehow had some part of their quantum matrix or some such changed to the point where they were bonding with photons and blotting out the sun.
Yeah. I believe the episode was back in Series 3. It was called Darkness.
Yes, indeed. So Monod is drawing upon that particular mission as inspiration for what's being attempted here. Yay!
Hey!
That was spectacular timing.
Yeah, because we need to. I know you need to actually have you guys reprogram the computer voice back from what Fiesel put it to.
She liked a good deal of self-congratulation, it seems. I have almost found the God particle.
Yay!
Alright. So, yeah, if we want to see how much further we can get with Bertram's experiment, let's...
Control of medicine, was that the one?
Reason and medicine, and this is going to be reason and science for Monod, and I would like his namesake, Alex, to take control of Monod, if you could, please.
Okay.
One dice.
2 successes from the Doctor.
2 successes from the Doctor, because of course.
So reason plus science, isn't it?
Yes, please. With the focus of quantum mechanics. Two successes. Monod feeling a bit distracted recently, perhaps. Nevertheless, the numbers are in and looking very encouraging. Now it comes down to the hologram model testing before actual physical testing is put in place. So, about halfway there.
Living on the prayer, etc.
Bon and indeed Jovi. Or as we used to call him in my household, Johnny Goodlaugh. John, Bon, Jovi. Just me? Gareth as well, so I at least got somebody else to laugh. Never mind. Okay, yeah, so far so good. Does anybody else have any side projects of their own that they would like to engage in?
I did have one, but it probably would be more of a... sorry, I'll throw it in. I actually want to recreate, as a stable program, what we actually did on that Dominion outpost. The whole when they had the noise, and then they literally just make minor adjustments to things to cause chaos, but have it as a loadable program to go into to go onto a smaller scale, like maybe load it into along one of the holographic torpedoes. So while that's going in, this goes into the hacks itself into the navigation system while everything's going chaos, and literally just adds these kind of subroutines. Or something like that, something that can go preloaded onto some sort of weapon or like that, and can be used from either ship to ship or just any kind of interface with the computer type thing. This is a pre-loaded thing that will do it. Basically, what that did.
So you want to create some kind of pre-made hack package that you can infiltrate it into an enemy ship's systems and just make everything go haywire.
A ship in general, just it can be anything of that nature, but something that can just change the routines to just when incoming information going in, out, just literally just change something very minor on each time.
Yes, the comm satellite, or rather the comm station that you infiltrated.
That was it. As a listing post. Yeah, it's specifically being able to do that, but as a fixed thing. So rather than something on the fly, actually go back into it, refine it so it can be, and then have it as a package that can be loaded into different things, depending on based on the infiltration. So I said, it can be a ship, rather than just over like a communication band. Like if we've got potentially a delivery system in the holographic torpedo, so something that can piggyback off that and use that as a distraction, like. Was originally the whole thing was two ideas. So it was a big noise that just do that was the obvious mess up, and this thing was like subtly underneath. So just something of that nature. So it can just be easily loaded into various things depending on the use. So not specifically for, as I said, ships, but it can just be into a system and just start literally doing the same thing.
Essentially rewriting and throwing out junk but plausible data.
Yeah, as I said, just minor changes, just like one or two. What was it? The best lies have a grain of truth. So just one thing, minor tweak going in, minor tweak going out. So it doesn't look like it's completely wrong. That's too obvious. So it's subtly enough to go under the radar for long enough. So it takes them longer to work out what's going on.
Interesting.
It could be hashed out next week. It's just this is what came to my head, which is why it drove the focus idea. And they've been messing up with us. It'd be good if we had maybe a counter that other ships could use that has proven to be effective, and to give out to the whole fleet.
So this is specific to the Dominion.
I mean,
but you want
for this current point, so but it'd have the ability to be modified for other things in the future. But it'd be, in this case, it'd just be Dominion, and is it and it'd be Cardassians as well. Basically ships that we've been able to interact with. So general Dominion ships, and I imagine the Cardassian coding would have been a bit more widespread known as well, because they've joined at this point, haven't they?
Yes. One imagined that.
So basically, set it for enemies. Currently, but for future use would be we can change it to something else. But primarily, yes, it'd be for the specific targets of this war.
What do other folks think? Well, good.
If it's a bad idea, please let me know.
That's what he wants to do.
But what is the merits of the idea and the usefulness of it? I'm actually asking the group now, because if it's something that's going to be not that used, then I'm not going to bother.
Gareth, Shaun,
you wouldn't
Webby?
really know till you need it.
You don't know
Something
until
you
you
wouldn't
need
really
it.
know till you need it.
Yeah.
Sorry, you two keep speaking over each other. Did you say it's something that we won't know until we need it? Was that
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay then. Yeah, give it a go.
Yeah, the sound mines haven't been used yet, but you never know. The holographic torpedoes almost got used.
I mean, the mines would also be a delivery system, I was thinking, but given the captain's opinion of that, it wouldn't be something to throw out yet. But the torpedoes is a bit more in line with what we can use. But yeah, I'll give it a go with... I haven't thought of what things to throw out for it, but as I said, probably hash out later to stop interrupting the flow now. But that's something I wouldn't mind looking into, yeah.
Okay. Interesting. No extra projects from Nova?
No, at the moment.
Well, I suppose the starboard nacelle was the pinnacle. Not get much bigger than that.
The Hello cosplay was clearly the pinnacle.
We plateaued when we reached that, I think. Yes, definitely. Just watching Mariana Cruz go round in Robbie the Robot outfit. Huh. No, I'm going to keep that thought to myself, actually. And nothing from the captain.
Nope. Don't think so.
Okay. So, let's see. So far, we've managed to successfully do Bertram's project. Looking good. We've got a possible future project for Edwards, which sounds very interesting. In the meantime, we are assuming that Edwards is mostly spending his time down in engineering because he has won the position as Chief of Engineering Bravo's second.
Mm-hmm.
Every chief needs their second. Bertram is, of course, usually found in sickbay rather than in the bridge, as are his crews. So everyone pretty much getting on with things as they have been. So, excuse me. Let's see. You are currently in the Holdenil H248 system, investigating the binary star system there. As you can imagine, the science department are the ones having the most fun. The engineering department haven't really stopped running around like headless chickens for the past 2 weeks. As a result, Vibers has been potentially feeling very homesick in the fact that he's still stuck doing a lot of crew rating paperwork when he really wants to be down in engineering, hitting things with hyperspanners.
Is that why he's not here? The captain misunderstood and literally sent him home for shore leave.
Maybe Andrews was like, you know what, this sulking is really bugging me. Go back to Trill. Go visit your great-great-great-great-grandkids or something. I don't know what Trill do. God, imagine the size of the family trees. How convoluted would Trill family trees be? Because then you've got the symbiote ones, and I know specifically they're supposed to separate themselves from their former lives, but still.
Yeah, clearly
It's
that's
gotta
why the greatest invention in Trill history was the 3D hologram. It finally let them present their family trees properly.
Well, if you think those family trees are big, you should stop by the Denobulans at some point. As Ensign Fiesel could have probably attested, but she's not here anymore, so...
Tusk, tusk.
If you will, put the, ooh, another word. Lost. Skipped out of my brain. If you will, put the advancement of your own personal project in regards to the unifying theory of everything ahead of the safety of the ship, then you get what's coming to you. In any case, drifting along as the Navis is at this point that your comm officer, Lieutenant Keshen, notes an anomaly. Just going to try and find Keshen here. Excuse me, it's loading. Keshen is still loading. Here we go.
Captain, I'm getting some kind of signal. Signal appears to be originating from somewhere outside of the system.
Can we clear it up?
Not at present, Captain. The signal is odd. trying to clean it up now, but I don't think it's background radiation or general cosmic noise. It's too regular. Definitely coming from something nearby. Trying to get a fix now.
At which point, Cashin sends over some data towards the science department. So Lieutenant Mono, for the most part, who is on the sensor station, has a good old look. Confirmed, Captain. I can authenticate Lieutenant Cashin's signal is coming from outside the system, and there appears to be what I think is a comet. Seems to be the originating point of the transmission. Fascinating. Definitely artificial. The signal. Why it's coming from a comet, though? Suggest this could be worth investigating over a binary star system. Could be more interesting. Up to you, of course, Captain.
We might as well move to investigate. We're not deviating massively from the mission parameters.
No, indeed. Lenny is very much a case of, oh, finally. He's just been sat with the ship pointing at a binary star system for the last couple of days.
Careful, Lieutenant.
Is that why you keep on going? Yep, definitely a binary star. Still.
Careful, Lieutenant. We don't want to fall asleep at the helm, do we?
Indeed not, Captain. Punch it, Lenny. I really wish I could, sir. However, I'm more than happy to start setting a course for that comet. Who knows? Might be pretty. Just check something a second. Yes. So, sure enough, on the view screen, as the ship starts to move, there is a comet. Big ball of rock and ice with a long trail coming off, marking its passage. Very large. Okay, says Mono. What have we got here? This comet is pretty big. There's a large amount of ice and debris accumulated on its surface. Initial indication suggests this thing is... ooh... hundreds, maybe 1,000 years old? Imagine the things it's seen. If it, weren't a lot of rocks. Where is he? There he is. It's at this point that Lieutenant Inless Bravo of stellar cartography that we don't see much of, actually pipes up. Captain, this is actually rather fascinating. Just projecting the past course of the comet based on its tail, and where it's apparently heading now, it appears to be moving on a course that makes it not pass by any star systems whatsoever.
Excuse me.
It's going completely between interstellar... well, not interstellar, but intersystem space. Huh. What are the odds of that? Lieutenant Lenny turns around to the captain. So, how close would you like me to get this to the comet then, Captain? He says with a bit of a hopeful look to his face.
Let's get closer, but not too close for now. Keep our distance just in case.
Alright then, Captain. Proceeding alongside, but still keeping our distance. So, sure enough, the Navis starts to creep and crawl alongside this massive ball of rock and ice as it's shedding pieces of itself. It is truly humongous, and with the way that the binary star system's light is catching it, the twinkle of ice does make it look like it glitters and sparkles quite brightly. But okay, let's see. Edwards is down in engineering, so this is more than likely going to be... Ooh. Probably gonna have to be Mono again, unless... Have a quick look at everybody else's foci. Lieutenant Mono, then. Captain, I'm reading an artificial structure. Be right back. I'm reading an artificial structure in the middle of this comet. Yeah, artificial core. The center is not some kind of compact metal like rocks ejected from an asteroid belt or a planet. This is actually manufactured alloys, although I couldn't tell you what type. The signal definitely appears to be emanating from that artificial core. Right then, well, it seems like the doctor, the second engineer, and the ops officer are the ones in charge at the moment, so what would you like to do?
Scan it for moss.
Tell you what
The
then.
doctor has spoken.
This is why the doctor is not in charge of the expeditions.
Look for plants, we must save them.
Okay. Let's at least have Dr. Bertram give me a control and medicine check, aided by the ship, which can be Shaun, if you please. The Shaun the ship is now known as the Shaun.
Yep.
Shaun the ship.
Any focuses relevant?
Biology. And
I was gonna
for
say,
the ship, can I get Shaun to give me sensors and science, please? And the ship counts as having a focus.
I'd say Edwards is happy to aid anyone scanning or do a scan, trying to identify if there's any the metallurgical composition of it. If it's got that kind of core, it's going to have that thing.
First things first, though, we were actually looking for biological whatevers, traces.
4 successes.
4 successes means that you definitely get a ping back on life signs. They are very, very faint and indeterminate in size and number, probably due to most of that information being shielded by the whatever artificial structure is surrounded by ice and rocks.
I shall report that back to the Science Department and the captain.
As for Edwards and his fascination with metallurgy, you can, with that many scan successes come back from Bertram, Edwards sees mineral composition of the artificial structure as being something that's not currently known in the Federation periodic tables.
Cross-reference with any Tilical scans we've had in the past?
No match so far.
Oh, it's just definitely something new, Captain. No, just sending up the results like the big old no matches.
Yep.
Actually, probably to Vibers as well. Actually, even his engineering insight.
So, yes, metallurgy that doesn't match any known species or elements on record, and is some kind of structure in the middle of a comet. Which from which there is some kind of signal emanating. So, I suppose then that the next logical thing would be for a scan of the signal, if you want to take that. Once again,
I think Navis should do it. Punch it into oblivion. The signal, not the comet.
I can put on an EVA suit and go for it.
I mean, can't we just send out a probe or something? Maybe you just whatever's composition it is, it's dampening the signal strength.
However,
just literally getting closer might help.
Yes, so the Navis is currently pulled alongside as close as it can get, but there's definitely a signal, a strong signal coming from within, being transmitted by that artificial structure and then inside of that comet. Hessian is apparently having a hard time making head or tail of it. So Edwards, with his background in communications, would make for a sensible attempt to have a look. As long as if Webby's not back, nope, then it's gonna be Gareth being the ship.
So, reason plus science?
Yes, please, with your focus on computers. As far as the ship is concerned, this is
communications.
Communications and science. Once again, treating the ship as if she had a focus.
So did you mean my focus on communications? Did
Your
you mean
communications
rather
on focus, yes.
Yeah. So if she said computers, that's what threw.
Nice.
Because part of me was wondering if we could get something closer, I could, or at least find an opening somewhere, and literally just send out some sort of. Wait, actually no. Get your thoughts on it, boy. Do we actually have our scanners able to pick up an idea of the structure itself, or is it simply just it's hollow and there's life signs in it?
So far, the latter.
Part of my head is going, if we can find an opening somewhere and get either something to just basically do a sonic blast through it, just like an echolocation to get an idea of the inside. Basically what we do with actual modern day archaeology in sites where we can't disturb it, but like the tomb of the first emperor of China, it's like they can't break into it, but they use echolocation to map the inside of it.
Sonar kind of thing, yeah.
Yeah. Because we're not going to be able to make contact with it, given the speed of it, but if we could get something that could do something that's some sort of similar effect to it, that could map the inside of it, but then we'd have to find an opening.
Yeah, so, that's something you could definitely do. But as far as the communications...
yes, Gareth, that'd actually probably be a good idea for it.
I reckon Nova would be up for it.
As far as that signal is concerned, that transmission does appear to contain a very dense data package, seemingly comprised of both computer data and audio.
Are you vaguely suggesting when you might need a computer mind to help decompile this at an accelerated rate?
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm merely stating that that's what the what the signal appears to contain. So how would you like to proceed?
Sorry about that.
No, we've got to analyse it, and if there are life signs, we need to do it quicker.
So yes, okay. So far, there is a signal. It contains large data and audio, although communications are currently having trouble getting anything usable out of that. There is an artificial structure in the middle of this comet that is made of unknown, heretofore undiscovered alloys, and there does appear to be life signs of a sort inside of that structure. So, the idea was floated by Alex to create some kind of sonic resonance in order to try and get essentially a sonar map of what the artificial structure in the middle of the comet could be, or what it looks like. So, what would you like to do? Or shall we just, strap an EV suit onto Nova and let her surfboard a crocodile out into space?
I mean, that is you say it's funny, but the actual idea of that is starting to build in my head, because if we would need potentially...
You're going to use
maybe
the
even
anti-grav sled, aren't you?
I was actually going to say a ship to be able to examine it closer, to find an opening to be able to use said sonar first to map the inside of it.
Absolutely.
So you actually need someone to go out closer, because I imagine we aren't able to. Well, we've got the maximum of what our sensors can do, so we need to potentially do it via visual means then. So it means something will have to be able to be over and we'll have to go around it.
Yeah, why are we going to use a EVA suit when we could use a shuttle?
That's what I was saying. Literally a ship. That's more than overall. The joke was sending Nova out in an EVA suit surfing a probe, and I was just saying that's actually
Not a bad idea.
do the to just apart from doing the sensible version of a ship, something smaller. Which I suppose who would volunteer to be the pilot?
Yes.
Well, it's either you, me, or Lenny.
Nova's got our rating in con, but yes, it's not her favourite thing.
I'd happily crash it.
Well, that would create a very seismic event, so, you'd get a very good reading for all of the couple of seconds it takes before the whole thing goes up, but yeah.
Fibers, you have the con.
His favourite thing.
In fact, you know what, Claw, you have the con.
Fibers is like, great, I'll see you in the mess hall. Mr. Minoko, pour me a drink.
Admiral Noko to the con.
No.
Oh, it's happy hour at the bar because Admiral Minoko is on the bridge.
So, do we want to actually use one of the shuttles, or do we want to go slightly bigger and more reinforced with a runabout? How are we feeling?
I'd say runabout for safety, but Captain's call.
So what have I actually missed, sorry, about the comet then, just as a brief?
Say again, sorry.
What have I missed?
There are life signs in the comet. We've gone through the signal that's come from it. It was a very big data packet that's currently containing audio and other things that's currently being decrypted. And you've more or less heard my idea of how to find out more information about it. That's pretty much it, unless I've missed something.
If there's life signs, Dr. B, do you want to come for a ride?
Sorry, I had myself on mute. Dr. Bertram will come along to discover strange new life signs from strange new worlds.
Okie dokie. And Edwards too. Okie doke.
It's Edward's idea, so.
Yeah, makes sense.
You need someone to load up the Sonic program to do this.
Quite. So this does mean that for a change, the Doc gets to ride up front.
Ooh.
Spacious.
Right up in...
Why is there a Nova in the port nacelle?
Why is there a Nova in the port nacelle? I missed that extra one. Okay, there we go.
They're multiplying.
There was no Nova. Go on, Shaun.
They're all linked and I went through the portal.
Yeah. It was actually Nova from when she made the starboard nacelle on the Navis from before. It's some kind of horrendous...
There's always Nova in the port nacelle, in every port nacelle. He's done a Clara, but it's just with port nacelles. There's always one.
So, In a bit of adventure for the captain for a change, you get into the Carpathia and launch off using the runabout's larger mass. Yes.
There's still a scratch down the side of it.
Oh, absolutely.
But how? How?
Kaval Thazanan is mentally projecting across space. He's psychically influencing somebody.
Either that, or he's found a particle that's quantum locked with a particle on the Carpathia, and he just keeps nudging that.
Either that, or he paid Monoko to just key the thing as he goes past it every day. But there we are. This
Admiral
will really
Monoko would not
annoy the captain. Why should I do this? Because it will really annoy the captain. I'll do it. Alright, so the captain gets to flex her piloting muscles once again as the Carpathia is launched out into the space, cruising alongside the comet. Of course, getting closer to the comet means that you've got to navigate the shards of ice that keep coming free of it. And so getting closer for a more in-depth whatever it is you want to do involves a fair bit of expert piloting here. So since somebody's playing with the Carpathia token, you can, unless it's Webby, of course.
Not me.
Not me.
And it's Shaun. So Shaun can be the Carpathia. And Andrews can give me a controlling con.
And if any complications are rolled, does it mean that Andrews was the one to scratch the Carpathia?
Absolutely.
Do you not think I'm going to spend determination to avoid the complication?
Andrews,
just to avoid the
determination
scratch.
just so that she's not the one to scratch after all this time.
I admire the dedication.
Can I use commanding from the helm as a foci?
Sure.
I think you just call face bluff and literally just, before you get on, scratch it yourself. Just go, fine, there.
Okay, yes. The Carpathia, being a runabout, doesn't handle quite as elegantly as a tiny shuttle. Therefore, Andrews has to be a bit more careful because it has got a bigger mass, but nonetheless, avoiding all the bigger chunks, guiding the Carpathia in closer and closer while staying alongside the course of the comet. So, now you are close enough, what would you like to do? Probe idea sounded pretty good to me, unless you can think of something else specifically you want to do.
I mean, that's why Edwards is here.
Ready?
That's the point. I've actually found an opening to be able to do the sonar into, to get to map the thing. Or
Well, luckily, as mentioned previously, if you're wondering why I'm saying that, then that's Shaun just posted a picture of an aircraft crashing on Discord. Yes, sorry. So you can load up a probe, no problem. So this is going to be control and science for Edwards, and can I get Gareth to be the Carpathia this time, please? We are being... what are we being? Sensors and science for the Carpathia.
trying to say, focus. Actually, I don't think I have one. I think I'll get closer with metallurgy, but that might be pulling it a bit.
Yeah, let's go with talent alone on this one.
Reasonable.
Oh no, I'm scratched. Yes, indeed. Nice.
Oh, bother.
Okay, nicely done. Easily enough done. Firing off a probe. There seems to be a gap in the ice on a particular side, which allows you to fire a probe off to latch itself into some of the rock debris. And that manages to get you enough of a signal that you can definitely tell that there is a a void. Not a terribly big void, but a void nonetheless in this artificial structure inside of the comet. Space
send it to the main
enough
ship.
for a single humanoid-sized life form.
Get the UVA suit, Nova. It always comes down to it. We joke about the absurd, and then that's been offered as the solution.
If that is what you want to try, then that is what we will do.
Well, you said it's large enough for a person, so someone would have to. Well, the only thing we have as person side are people, and realistically, Captain, what I've got to do.
The artificial structure itself is, now that you're closer, it's more like a pod of sorts. It's not a massive structure. The comet itself is fairly large because of the sheer amount of debris and ice that's formed around it. But the artificial whatever pod, let's say, in the middle of it, could be construed as being as large as a shuttle pod. And certainly appears to have a space within it that could house a life form. Certainly Dr. Bertram's reading from earlier suggests that there might very well be.
Oh, that's what you meant. I thought you meant like there's a gap in it is big enough for a person. Sorry, my mind missed that.
Could we triangulate a signal and just try and beam them on board? It's travelling quick, but there's 2 ships now that can lock between us.
Yeah, let me think. The advantage you have is that the artificial structure is very solid and is not moving whatsoever, whereas the outside of it is caked in bits of stellar debris which flake off occasionally. So we've had pretty good successes so far. Let's see if Nova gets anything more than that, since that was your idea. So let's go with... Funny enough, I'm going to go for infiltration as Nova's focus for this, and I'd like reason and engineering.
Alrighty. I'm going to add a dice for fun just because we're at a full pool.
Yep, fair. Webby, can you be the Carpathia for me? And we are doing structure and engineering. Boom, bada bang. Good gravy. Hey. So, it takes a bit of doing, so it's not an immediate thing. It takes a good bit of working out, but thanks to the probe and your proximity, you're able to get a very good idea of the dimensions of this this pod thing in the middle of this comet. Mapping its dimensions exactly and getting a good idea, you can't get a fix enough on what life form might be in this thing to beam them out. But what you can do is beam the pod itself away from the comet. The comet itself is comprised so much of this dense packet of these dense layers of debris and ice that if you do it in such a way, which with 4 successes you have absolutely done it successfully, beamed away the pod structure, and you can use, as you noted, since you've got two ships that can do it, you can transfer the beaming data, I suppose, to the Carpathia and then onto the Navis, because the Navis does have cargo areas that are big enough to house this thing. Not to mention a shuttle bay. So between that relay, you can definitely beam the pod onto the Navis. Where would you prefer it parked? In a science lab or in a shuttle bay?
Probably science, because it'll be closer to the med lab, just in case.
So, primary science has got a lot of smaller labs, but secondary science should be bigger. So, seeing as Andrews did so well piloting the Carpathia before, piloting it back to the ship is no problem at all for someone of that skill. So you were able to enjoy yourself for a brief period of time out in the out in space piloting the runabout. Bertram, as before, the runabout sensors were unable to definitively detect the presence of a number of life forms, but there are definitely life signs, though they appear muted. But you'll be able to hopefully get a better view of what's going on when you check it back into Deck 6 with the secondary science lab, which is where Mono tells you that the pod has been sent to. So, who would like to go and have a look at your new acquisition?
I'll go, see if we can find more about the life signs, see if it...
Well, in the gang, I am going to... Well, this depends, actually. I was going to suggest Mono, but as head of science, he could delegate and send somebody else, so it's entirely up to you guys who you think should go. Obviously, if all your characters are curious, they should all by rights go, so...
I'd go and probably take Cruise just in case we need to start dismantling it.
Good point.
Bertram's going both to see if there's a life sign in there that might need to help enter, or in case there's any sort of life sign there that might prove to be some sort of biohazard.
We'll ask you down so you can document and take scans of it, everything before it gets disassembled.
So we want Cruise just in case. So I'll bring Cruise in on this. So we've got Bertram, Nova Cruz, Edwards. The captain want to be there?
Yeah, not that fussed.
Not that fast.
Do we want to have security on standby just in case contents is hostile?
What you think?
No.
Yeah. Nova's here, as is Cruz. What more do you need? Okie doke. So
Actually, we need to even run a quarantine on it potentially.
Well, that's what Gareth was saying for Doc
There's
Bertram.
lots for yeah.
All right. So, when you finally go into the secondary science labs, you find this. So, first things first, of course, scans for whatever's on the outside of it. Also, there's the thing with the blah 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 blah, the signal. Right, yes. So, Nova just goes straight down there and has a look, and there are what appear to be ports. Windows of sorts. So when Nova looks through the window, she can see something inside, which is, when you go right up close, you should see something.
Ooh, for kitty.
That vaguely looks like a displacer beast.
That's the closest I could, yes, find for what I wanted. Some kind
Clearly
of...
a very normal house cat.
Well, it's a very big house cat, if it is a house cat, but definitely seems to have feline-esque features to it, but it's difficult to tell completely because it's kind of hunched into a ball. Appears to be, it has skin that's not furred, appears to have some kind of hide that's dark purplish. From what you can tell, from the thing being punched into itself, it looks like it's either a biped or a quadruped. It's got 4 limbs either way, but it does have these 2 extra thready limbs that seem to be coming off from between its shoulder blades. We're keeping it. No arguments needs a home. Well, indeed. But at the moment, Lieutenant Cashin on communications is also working, trying to decipher the signal. So, first thing you're going to want, I mean, Cruz is now far too interested in what what Nova's doing, so it's like, what is it? What is it? What is it? Puts her face right up to it. Oh, wow, cool. Kitty in a box. Say, Doc, is this thing safe to be smushing my face up against?
It's a very good question, Ensign. I've yet to finish the scans that I began when we came in.
Nova, do you reckon we should lick it to find out? Then it becomes, you know, ours.
I'll tell you what. If I put up some quarantine fields around you and the pod in a few moments, you'll know that my answer is no, it's not safe.
Too late. Let's let it out.
Go back a sec.
Which Bertram's going to actually be doing these scans to see if he's got to quarantine these 2 along with the pod.
Alright, so Bertram can just give me a control and medicine check, difficulty 0.
Okay. Xenobiology is a focus.
Yep, that'll do. 2 successes.
2 successes.
I never doubted you, but, you know, you never know.
Thank you. Well, it's more momentum.
Exactly. Plus, I was curious if a complication would come up, and then I would totally be in for doing something to Nova and Cruz for having put their faces up against the portals.
Already collecting rocks and dust off the side of it, as well as samples, just like freezing.
The pod is marvelously free of any bacteria or contagion of any kind. It's very, very clean. Now that you're here, there is definitely only 1 life sign in there, but the life signs are very, very low. It would suggest either this creature is very, very sick, or in some form of torpor or stasis.
Yeah.
The fact that it's a pod in space... Go on.
Yeah. I was going to pass that over to Edwards and ask if he can see any sort of form of long-term stasis, cryogenic or similar system on there would keep a life form alive, but in any sort of state of hibernation or something similar.
Does Nova want in on this as well to try and figure out the pod's workings, as it were?
Yeah, might as well.
Cool, so who's heading this up, Nova or Edwards? I mean, Edwards was asked specifically, and I just imagine Nova going, oh, me too! But it's entirely up to you.
Follow the doctor's orders and Edwards can lead. Okay.
Reason and engineering, inner workings for Nova, and we'll go with... Oof. I'll actually go with ancient technology here for Mr. Edwards.
I was actually going to ask that same thing.
Interesting. Okay, yes. First off, as the focus for Edwards may have clued you in, this pod is very, very old. The fact that it's immaculate suggests that it's been in space all of its existence, probably. But how long it's been out there is difficult to tell. It doesn't appear to have any kind of guidance system or propulsion, suggesting, perhaps, as a hypothesis, that maybe it's some kind of space capsule that's launched from something rather than it having the ability to propel itself. There's certainly,
escape pod.
Well, maybe. There certainly don't appear to be any systems built into the pod that suggest that they are responsible for the stasis of the occupant. Therefore, that would suggest, at least to Dr. Bertram, that the stasis the creature is in is more than likely either actioned by the creature itself or is its own response to.
Right.
So this can suggest any number of things, like some ancient form of space travel, where you just get shot from one place to another like a cannon, or indeed an escape pod, as was thought.
Sounds like the best kind of space travel.
I mean, the fact that it was giving off a signal, it makes me wonder if that was sort of like a homing beacon or something, which is why it's going along with the escape pod or some sort of lifeboat. Why else would it start broadcasting a signal to get attention?
Indeed, that's the only mechanized, really, bit of it. That's the only thing that has any kind of advanced technology of sorts, is that this broadcast system seems to be built into this pod. And very much, potentially some kind of locator beacon or something. To know for sure, of course, you'd have to work on decoding what the transmission is. But thanks to Nova and Edwards giving it a good old look over, there definitely appears to be a hatch. And you've already screened it for contaminants. Doesn't seem like there are any.
Can I, sort of like both for scans of the creature and the inside of the pod, actually try and get a gauge on what sort of environment the creature would need if we brought it out of the pod? Vis-a-vis what I don't want is for one of something like Nova or Cruz to open up the hatch, let in our atmosphere, and it turn out our atmosphere is toxic to it or something.
You're not sure. The trouble is, locked inside of the pod as it is, you're not getting very detailed readings through the pod. If the pod could be opened, you could at least then, practically just jam the tricorder in and go, right, there we go, there it is, scan it.
Yeah. If the tricorder says, your environment will kill this creature, it's a bit late then.
But there's no indication that... Sorry, Bud, go on.
No, you first.
There's no indication of an atmosphere inside of that pod.
Right, is it basically sort of vacuum?
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, fair enough. So suspended animation. I was about to say, is there any sign of like any kind of life? Life
support system.
Oh, what's the word? Thank you. Life support. Anything like that. But if it's in a vacuum, then it's going to be suspended animation kind of thing. What
we could, in theory, do, and Bertram isn't going to do this yet. This is him hypothesizing, because before he decides that the pod should be opened, he is definitely going to make sure the captain is aware of what's going on and gives the final word. In theory, if this creature is capable of surviving, albeit in a form of hibernation or something like that, in a vacuum, we could use force fields around it, create kind of a vacuum around it, open up the pods to open up the hatch, and hopefully allow us to actually direct scans through the open hatch to actually get a gauge on what kind of environment the creature wants, and then look about providing a suitable environment and seeing potentially about waking it up.
Edwards want to be present for that, or does he think he can? His work is done here. He can maybe help with decoding the communication, or what? Or does he want to pull apart the pod?
I'd say if it's fully been like scanned and everything for the bits that actually would be to his engineering expertise, then if there's no other information to be gained that way, he probably would be best trying to decode it.
Okay. Unless, of course, you have another idea and we could float that.
Bertram at this point will remember the earlier question and includes the scans indicate that you are probably not going to die from contact with this pod, by the way.
Okay, cool. I've always wondered what
Okay.
pod tastes like. Runs her tongue up the thing.
Okay,
Yep,
so yeah, Edwards
that
would
wasn't worth it. Yeah.
start heading off to try and help Dakota, but also send a report to the captain and the bridge crew.
Bertram will also contact the captain and update with what they found so far.
Okay.
And then also head up to start decoding.
There's also the thing that if the creature is sentient and we bring it around, this would then turn into a first contact situation, potentially, because we don't know whether or not the creature's sentient.
Yeah.
It's already been adopted.
Yes. Well, yes.
I feel if the creature is sentient, then we're adopting it as a pet may become problematic.
But she ever said as a pair, could be as a sibling.
Yeah. Nova Cruz and the third one.
Yeah. Nova Cruz.
With Unit Hello, with Unit Hello programmed to be the AI reluctant babysitter.
Somebody's got to be responsible.
Adult.
That's what the A in it means.
Adult intelligence.
Webby, you've just come back, then I take it?
Incoming message.
Or have you been listening along all this time?
I've been listening along all the time.
So, yes, what's the captain's take on all of this?
Yeah, I'll let them go and do stupid science, win stupid prizes.
Let's see. Binary star mapping or kitty cat?
Why not both?
Well,
Or up the cat, get it to do stellar cartography.
I would say that we are transmitting the information that we have found something to Starfleet and that we are proceeding with continuing the investigation of this asteroid. And then we'll be returning to continue on the binary observation.
right then. Okie dokie.
Is the captain okay with us potentially trying to release the creature and medically check it out and potentially bring it around?
Yeah.
Okay.
Unleash the beast.
Alright, so like I noted, there's very obviously a release hatch jobby, because the occupant had to get in there somehow.
Bertram will want to set up the force fields both to contain, to create a similar vacuum atmosphere until we can ascertain what kind of environment is best to bring the creature around with, and also just in case it wakes up and is either hostile or just not sentient and feral, and kind of lashes out to make sure it doesn't burst out and stop running around.
Okay, cool. So you're setting up those those precautions.
Yeah.
Let's also get to Edwards having a look at trying to clean up that signal. Let's make this an extended task. Does Edwards want any help on it, or is he confident in his own abilities?
He probably would take some help. He's not egotistical. Besides, I imagine it is more the the Federation's ethos of we're running this together at its current point. So yeah, he's not going to go it alone. Any help we can get.
Cool. I broached that subject because the most obvious assistant would be Keshen, but that means activating Keshen as one of your supporting cast for this episode, and you do have a limit on the number you can activate, so that was why I broached the subject. You've got 6 that you're permitted. So if you want
How many have we
to be one of those
activated
6,
anyone so far? Have we?
No, it hasn't been. Nobody else has been used per se yet. So.
Yeah, no one's been used, so use them.
Yeah.
Cool, cool. What we will do then is we will briefly go back to the bridge. So, obviously, Nova, Cruz, Bertram are down with the pod itself. Andrews is trying to convince Vibers to get out of her seat. Keshin over on the communications console. So, we can have Webby be Keshin. You guys are trying to decode the signals. This sounds like reason and... Is it science or engineering for communications? It's... science. Okay. Yes. So, obviously, Keshin supporting Edwards, both of them with communications as a focus. So, Webby, if you're good for being Keshin.
Yeah, what would you like from him? Sorry.
Reason and science with a focus of communications. Right, okay, cool. Now, for the purposes of extended task resolution, what do folks have? Oh, hang on a second. When you attempt a task using engineering or science, you may roll one additional d20 so long as you succeeded at a previous task. Okay, never mind. I was reading Keshin's there. And computer expertise, that's just using computers, so not so much.
Nick of time for extended tasks.
But you've got nick of time. Right, so you don't have anything to get over resistance for a extended task? I think that's Vibers, actually.
I do, but I don't think I'm part of this task, am I?
Well, quite. So, okay.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, you don't manage to get very far with that at all. This thing is highly complex and has, as has been noted with the metallurgy side of things, not been encountered before. So, this is new to both Edwards and Keshin. Unless, of course, you would like to succeed at cost. Or would you just like to have another crack at it? Bearing in mind this is taking up time, essentially.
I'm going to bring this up so I can't read the rest of it. It's hiding it
Cochrane
for
Medal
me.
of Excellence.
Security,
Select a single focus. Once permission,
Okay, no, that's
use
what it's
spend
called.
a determination.
It was more need to read it because I couldn't get into it without clicking in to edit it, so I was just trying to read all the rest of it. So yeah, so that's something I need to actually spend a focus on. Determination on.
You don't have to succeed at cost. I'm just saying that even the failed attempt takes time, so we will get back to the dock and Nova trying to get this thing open.
Yeah.
So it's up to you. Leave it as a failure, or
We're gonna get to it anyway. I'd say just continue working on it. There's no massive urgency. If it becomes urgency, then it'd probably be worth taking another crack at it.
alright, so
Leave it as a failure at the moment.
going back
Just work
to
through it.
Nova and Bertram then. You guys are trying to now set up the force field in such a way that you can keep a vacuum environment whilst also allowing you to safely access the thing. So this will be a combination of control and medicine from Bertram and control and engineering from Nova, because it's two ways of getting at the same thing. So it's up to you guys who you think should lead that.
Bertram.
The dock. Okay.
It's the dock's force field, so.
I mean, Nova's shields focus is essentially the right thing for this, and I suppose xenobiology becomes the thing for Doc Bertram here. Okay. Nova's like, boring. Just let me at the kitty already. Whenever you succeed at a task,
Why
use
are you
music
locking it in?
control. Okay. So Bertram has got that. Alright, so Bertram sets up the force field to create a stable vacuum environment. Nova does help, but only as far as actually initiating the force field. But at the very least is keen enough to have put an EVA suit on in order to get ready to open the hatch. It's suggested, obviously, since you've created an area of vacuum, that Doc Bertram will probably need to slap on his own EVA suit in order to be able to actually get into the vacuum area so that he can put his tricorder sensor down there into the probe. But that's next turn. So let's try again with Keshen and Edwards, if we please. You do have a full momentum pool, so if you think you need to do better, you can always delve that way.
Yeah, I think I'm going to nab one.
Webby, you can still be Keshen. Ooh, that's better. Have we lost a Webby?
Sorry, what do you want from me again? What?
Keshen, if you please. Same as before.
Reason and science again.
Yep.
Yep.
Having another go at it. Okay. Keshen not being terrifically helpful, but Edwards nonetheless manages to get through. So, if I could get Edwards to roll me 7 challenge dice, and this is where your in the nick of time thing will come in. Ooh, nice. So, 7 successes, 2 effects, so 7, 8, 9. Very nice. You can spend 2 momentum to gain an extra 1 bit of progress on the work track if you wanted to. Not saying you have to, I'm just saying that that's an option.
Might it be worth grabbing it, guys, or should we be a bit more sparing at the moment?
Go for it if you want it.
Go for it. We've got 5 momentum.
Alright, 2 removed adds an extra bit of work, so is he really pushing through? This gives you your first breakthrough. The first breakthrough reveals the presence of a short burst of text contained within the message. What it actually reads as, however, you're not entirely sure.
Would I be able to use in linguistics to try and guess the type of dialect, or is something that's similar to it in our the current lexicons?
You could, but that'll have to be next turn as I go
Be
back
next
to
time,
Bertram and
yep.
Nova.
It's gonna be a warning. Don't open the capsule. Like nuts.
So
It just says meow.
Please
yeah,
bring tuna.
Now it's a case of unlocking the capsule, so this is going to be mostly an engineering-related debris. But we do know that Dr. Bertram is no slouch when it comes to engineering herself, so this could potentially reverse the situation we had from previous turn, which is maybe Bertram aid Nova. Inner workings would work for me as a focus for Nova, since, you know, hatches usually work one of X number of ways. As far as the doc goes, well, needless to say, none of his foci really apply here, so it's just talent.
Is that control and engineering?
Yes, essentially. Seeing if you can open this thing without doing any damage.
1 success.
Too excited.
Oh dear.
Okay. Are we keeping that complication?
Yeah.
It's Nova. Shaun would
Right.
never re-roll it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okie dokie. Alright. So, There's a hatch. Very obvious, the only hatch on the entire pod. It has what appears to be a locking mechanism, so you crank the lock. It takes a good amount of force to try and prise this thing open, but with Bertram working with Nova, managed to pull the thing open. But the hinges have been rather badly affected by the passage of time, it seems, so the thing clunks open, but one of the hinges breaks, so the door almost half topples off, so it's now lying at an angle. Nevertheless, you can just as easily get a tricorder sensor in there. You can now see the occupant a lot better. Seems to be... it's curled up in a ball, so it's difficult to tell. In this state, it looks like it's the size of... let me think of a good analogy. Takes up about the size of the larger dog breeds, like a Newfoundland or a St. Bernard's. So, you know, a big dog if it was all curled up.
Big dog.
Oh. But Nova does, with that complication, Nova does remark to herself, huh,
Incoming message.
how was the occupant meant to get out? Meanwhile,
Oh dear.
back with decoding the signal. So, yes,
Lloyd's in
let's have a look.
Same again?
Same again, but this time you were focusing on linguistics, weren't you?
I'm wondering, should I try and unlock, sort out more of it, or try to translate what we have now?
Well, that's a good question. Webby, you're being Cashin as well at this point. What do you think? Try and decode the whole thing, or try and translate the one bit that you do have? What do you guys think? Where's the preference?
Gareth,
preference?
Shaun, is Webby isn't answering.
No. We don't know what's going on. We're still breaking the hinge. It's for you guys to decide.
Yeah, sounds like a you problem.
Alrighty, so Alex, it's entirely up to you what you think you want to do. Your preference. Try and translate what you've just found out, or do you want to go on with trying breaking apart the entire contents?
I want to translate the bit we have, because it might literally just be the first bit, might be a warning. Oh, did someone just come back in?
Not I.
It's just wishful thinking.
I thought I heard like a Webby about to say it's trying to get something in. Okay.
You guys are the ones that's running this show tonight on that.
Oh, you are there?
Yeah, I've been here
You
the
are-
whole time listening to you guys.
Yes, but you as a person in this was actually asked the question.
And the
Either
question
way.
was...
Do
Would
we
you-
want to translate the bit we have done, or do we want to try and get through some more of it?
I'd probably say try and get through it all, rather than just going with, well, we've got like A, B, and C.
Which makes sense, to be honest. I was leaning towards that, but part of my brain was metering it. It was like, no. It would be focused on that. So, yeah. I'd like to...
Both of you, as
Do I-
before, what you can do is, since you have had one breakthrough, is that you can choose to either lower the resistance or lower the difficulty. Difficulty is currently at 3, but so is resistance.
Stabilizing.
I'd say
Which-
difficulty.
Yeah.
This is
Okay? Alright then.
So it'd be difficulty 2 now.
Difficulty 2 now, so that makes it, as it suggests, a smidge easier.
Means I don't have to throw anything into...
Okay,
Ah,
Keshin is...
rubbish.
Ooh, hello. It's all on Keshin then. Webby! Let's see if Keshin can win some back for team communications. Yes, absolutely. On
does it.
the bean. Well done,
So with that,
Keshin, not letting the
Keshin
side
gets
down.
to roll the dice.
So, yeah, Webby, if you could get Keshin to use the red perform challenge button to roll me 6 dice. 6 challenge dice.
But my thing would still apply, wouldn't
Your
it?
thing would still apply. 3 with 3 extra.
So 6.
Minus that is 3 and... Yeah, where are we now? We almost... Yeah, not quite all the way there. Getting some more inferences, though, of the contents. As far as what file types there appear to be in there, but so far nothing definitive. Still need a bit more decoding. So, back we go! This one definitely appears to be more of a Bertram one for this, because now you have access to the creature inside itself. So, xenobiology definitely be a thing here. Now, Nova does have 1 in medicine, so technically has got some medical training if you think she would be helpful in at least assisting the doc with this, but I leave that entirely up to you.
I'm happy to try.
Got legs like a kitty, tail like a kitty, head like a kitty. I say kitty.
So many headbutts.
But yeah, no real foci that Nova could use here, so it'll just be talent alone. And of course, it would be nice for Gareth to roll if they can just log back in. There we go.
Yeah, I don't know why I just got booted out.
Yeah, sometimes it does that with certain connections, I notice.
Yeah.
Mind you, it
Right
did
there,
that to me
Mr.
earlier.
Good. Okay, so is it reason, medicine, xenobiology?
Yes, please.
Okay. 3 successes.
Woo! Nice, nice, nice. With any assistance from Nova that Nova would like to give. Not bad, actually. Not bad at all.
Yeah.
More momentum back to the pool.
Oh, momentum.
Okay, so a scan of this creature proves very interesting. Let me see. Definitely appears to be in a form of natural stasis. But its internal physiology is unlike anything you've ever come across before. The life form has no lungs, therefore does not breathe. It does appear to have some form of circulatory system, but doesn't have any organ responsible for pumping, or at least making that circulatory system circulate. It has 4 limbs. The hind limbs appear to be powerful enough to suggest that it can operate as both a quadruped and a biped. Definitely has very feline organization to its overall body. But the interesting thing, of course, besides the fact of its lack of internal organs, is the pair of long tendrils, tentacles, proboscis, whatever you want to call them, that seem to erupt from its shoulder blades. Getting any more information, we'll have to wait until we come back from Team Edwards and Keshin trying to break that communication cipher again.
Okay.
So once again, we're going to need Edwards to roll 2 dice for communications and Keshin to roll 1 dice for communications if Webby's around. If not, then I will ask... I'll ask Shaun to be Keshin, unless Webby's there. Nope, great. 1 success, 3 successes overall. Nice, nice, nice. Oh, no, wait, wrong. This is good. No, I was right. 1 momentum goes back to the pool. Which means that we get Edwards able to roll 7 challenge dice, pretty please. Oh, that's really good. 8 successes.
13.
-3. Yeah, sorry, pardon me, 13. So that's minus the resistance is 10. Wicked. That is a full-on completion. You have managed to decode. So, in the process of that massive amount of work that you just put in, you did reach a second breakthrough, which means you've managed to separate the audio from the main data stream for the signal. But the rest of the signal contains a large amount of informational data. And getting back to our friend in the science lab.
Science.
So, further scan of the beast is not necessarily just the time it takes to actually examine it. The more Dr. Bertram examines it, the more wondrous the information comes back. Let's see. The circulatory system contains a form of energy-storing liquid plasma. Plasma itself merely seems to be present as the energy transmission medium that runs through its entire body, but it has no means of obviously needing to circulate it. But the thing that Dr. Bertram finds most interesting about the creature is that its teeth, its claws, and the ends of its tentacle-like proboscis each contain filaments. Filaments not unlike something you've seen before in another life form. The energy-draining moss.
Oh.
And this is when I divert us briefly back to the bridge once more. If I can. Come on. Yerk.
If this is a creature that future Bertram has made and sent back through time, there are going to be questions asked.
There's a reason it's cat-shaped, because he knew.
No. It is Nova after a little enhancement surgery went wrong.
One too many of those glowing mushrooms, I think, were imbibed.
I have upgraded you, Nova. You are now perfect.
Nova 2.0. Well,
Nova's final
2.1.
form.
We had a bit of beta testing.
All right. So Edwards and Keshin have now managed to separate out the transmission and have got a reasonable idea now of. I've got a translation matrix running, and you managed to get the short burst of text that you got during your first breakthrough. And the computer, thanks to Keshin and Edwards' combined work, has translated it. 1, 2, 3 very short sentences. Do not open. Alien predator inside. Extremely dangerous.
I knew you were going to say that.
Back down in the science lab.
I was going to say, as soon as you see that, just send that and all links to everyone involved. Boom, the captain's like, don't!
So, Nova and Bertram. Bertram has just scanned it and is there analysing the data, and it's like, and I picture Bertram very much does what Gareth did, which was, ooh!
Ooh.
Which does grab Nova's attention a little bit, but then Nova's empathic senses detect a flicker, another mind, another emotion. It's sleepy at first, but it's definitely coming from the pod's occupant. And as both Bertram and Nova watch in silence, one of its tendrils slowly lifts up. The tendril is long, sinuous, seems to be made entirely of flesh, muscle, and just ends at a point. That point, according to Bertram's scans, is the one with all the little filaments at the end. This tendril comes up and just waves about, almost like a piece of seaweed caught in the currents of the sea, just lilting back and forth a little bit. But then it starts to just reach forwards as Bertram sees it reaching out for his tricorder. What does he do?
I'm going to pull back a second and say the creature drains energy directly, similar to the Bertram moss.
Edwards gave that as a brief to the bridge, didn't he, as well?
Yeah.
I said to
Hey,
Captain and everyone involved, so basically those guys down there as well.
Hey, bravo! Claw, let's grab a security team and let's go and down there.
Now, when you say let's, do you mean just them, or is the captain going as well?
Yeah, I'm going as well
Okay.
on this.
So, Lord.
At which point, the doctor gets
Yes.
an urgent message coming
Yes.
through.
Is it
Is
worthwhile?
it-
Is it worthwhile flooding the chamber with anethicene gas as well, if it's
Well-
it's waking up?
Depends if you're going to ask Bertram
also-
about that first.
I was going to say, yeah, we don't know about that at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me.
Because at the moment, At the moment, has Bertram actually heard any of this?
I sent an urgent message down.
All right.
He's called Maurice.
If you send that pin,
Please,
Bertram
no,
said,
Maurice.
Bertram's going to reply. The pod has been breached. The creature is started to rouse. Be aware that it looks like it directly absorbs energy similar to the Bertram moss, but it's it seems a cross between an energy sort of like, and a physical biological creature. It is currently sleepy, but it is started to rouse. I'm going to look at the Nova and Cruz and said it will almost certainly be able to just devour that force field.
Bruce looks at Bertram and goes, "So that means we shouldn't be down here in front of it, right?"
We should probably back up slowly.
Sure enough, there's a cracking and snapping as the fetal position form of the creature starts to, as its muscles start to move, and it starts to slowly unfurl stiffly. But it extends its hands out, and its hands are almost cat paws, but the digits are somewhat elongated, which suggests that it's able to manipulate tools to a degree. Perhaps it would have that capability, opposable thumbs and all, but definitely has curled claws like a feline's, as it does a very cat-like stretch as it elongates itself all the way out, and it could easily be the size of a 6.5 to 7 foot humanoid if it stood up. But for the
So
moment,
it's certainly a much bigger dog.
yes. So when it was all curled up, it was very compact, but now that it's stretching itself out to its full size, you get a better idea of exactly how big this creature really is. And it, in a similar form to a cat, it curls its upper torso around first before it swings its hind end around to regard you all.
As the security team's turning up, it's kind of like everyone out now.
Okay, as we back up, Bertram says it's quite possible that it'll be able to, if it catches you correctly, eat any energy that you shoot at it from the phasers.
I want to beam it back into space.
So
Put that thing back where it came
Well, now
from.
that
Also
it's
help
awake,
me.
it might. Now that it's awake, it might absorb the energy of the transporter.
Yeah.
You've got 10 seconds to get out of here before I start flooding this room with nicotine gas.
It won't work. It doesn't breathe. It doesn't even have lungs.
Yeah.
Best thing I can suggest as a sort of thing, if we might be able to guide which way it'll go to by providing the most
Wait.
sort of like
can't
energy
suggest it.
sources that it might be attracted to feed.
So the creature is now up on all fours and looks very much like a panther. Very sleek, very black, so black in fact that it almost seems like it's composed entirely of shadow. The thing that really does stand out, of course, are its eyes, which glow this kind of molten yellow. But there's no slit pupil. There's just the glowing eyes, and it noses the force field a little bit. And
How far away is this particular room from the warp core, the deck of the warp cores?
well, you are on deck 6, and engineering is on deck 17.
So it's got a little bit to go towards the primary power source, at least.
I have an idea of how to get rid of it. It'd probably take a big hole in the ship.
I would say just throw the moss at it.
I'm getting ready for Bertram mossing haste, but I'm scanning it as see if it actually starts consuming the energy of the force field. Because if it does, I'm hoping if I can get some information on that, combined with my knowledge of how the Bertram moss works, I might be able to try and figure out a way to contain it.
Since it had a mind, what is its intent? Is it just
very good point. All right then. Nova senses hunger. Just hunger. It's regarding you all with that sense. It's looking around, and Nova's getting the overriding sense of hungry. Very, very hungry. This seems to be the only thing coming off of it, and it's coming off of it in almost like a musk, an animal musk, and it's like Nova's taken a big old whiff of it, and it's almost overpowering, like the strong smell of an animal would be. And so it's gotten up into Nova's empathic senses, like stuck in the inside of your nostrils, like a strong smell is, and it almost strong enough to make you gag, make your eyes water. But it leaves Nova with this predatory sense of just wanting to consume, and it's so intense. It's making Nova blink a bit from it. It's like, whoa, this is so strong. It's eclipsing everybody else's thoughts. Entirely involuntarily, Nova's stomach growls. The beast runs its claws across the force field, which of course gives that staticky force fieldy effect that we're so used to seeing with Star Trek.
Yeah.
And the creature withdraws its claws, just seems to look the force field up and down, before it then steps forth from the pod to stand in the open hatchway, steps down and raises itself up to its full height on its hind legs while it's busy looking up and down at where this force field is encompassing it, and then its two tendrils hover up like cobras before they dart forward and jam themselves into the force field. And just as Dr. Bertram hypothesized,
Yep.
the entire force field starts to resonate with energy, and it flickers, it garbles,
Everyone
and it goes out.
out the room.
As it
Yep.
Everyone out.
does,
As I was scanning that as it was to try and get as much information of how it feeds and how it interacts with energy.
now that was a
Come up with
force
a
field
countermeasure.
strong enough to contain vacuum. So there is a very loud pop as air suddenly rushes in and and crashes into the area where there was vacuum, and boom. So there's a very strong suction effect that happens. So everybody, just as everybody's trying to get out, they get momentarily pulled forwards.
You think that's how it's fair? Oh, sorry.
Go on.
No, you first.
The creature, you can practically see the veins under its skin light up as this energy channels through its body, and as it does, its eyes become even more aglow, and you even see it start to get bigger in size.
Computer disable gravity on deck 6.
The entirety of the deck.
Yep.
As it steps forward. Gravity disabled on deck 6. Okay, so who has got an EV suit? Bertram and Nova.
Yep.
Everybody else, it's floaty time.
Yep,
Also
that's
say-
fine,
also
which means
means-
it's source flow floating as well.
Also, say it does mean that phasers might actually work against it, because if it has to actually stab things with the end to feed, it'd have to have very good timing to do that with a phaser beam.
Potentially.
The creature lets loose a very feline big cat roar, exposing its long teeth. And it is free floating for the moment, but it doesn't seem all that bothered about it as it starts to paddle and swim in closer.
But that's fine. How's it swimming in 0G?
It's
Propelling itself.
It's a being that exists in a vacuum, and its physiology is completely sort of like plasma
Right.
energy based.
Everyone out.
Right.
Everyone out of the room.
Okay, withdrawing.
Yep, everyone withdraws from the
No.
room and pretty much slams
Seal
the
the
door
door.
behind him.
Seal the door and computer deactivate all power to deck 6 to this sector.
Well,
And clear. So close the emergency bulkhead and seal all power from this area.
if I put my biological hat on, I'd say this creature is definitely a killer, because that's the only way it would actually evolve those type of claws and teeth when it feeds off energy. It doesn't use it to hunt or to eat, so it must be as a weapon, so either to defend itself or kill.
Let's pop everybody in a corridor to represent you standing outside of the room. As you seal that door behind you and power down energy to that section. There's
And any surrounding sections, so effectively this corridor and like any room sort of like 3 or 4 bits over.
Yep. You hear a bang on the door, a very heavy thud. Bam, then bam, bam, then bam, 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 and a roar. Then you hear the very loud
Edward.
screech of claws against metal, and you see
Edward,
the
do you have the
door
sound
start
weapon?
to bulge out a bit. What was that you
Do
going
you
to say,
have the
Gareth?
sound weapon? I was saying,
Sound
Edwards,
weapon?
do you have the sound weapon? Given that
Edwards
it's
isn't there.
Oh, you broke it.
But there is one on
Right.
every deck.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking, given that it's actually letting out a verbal roar, creatures that actually can make sound are generally capable of receiving it, so it might have some sort of effect, even though we don't have enough information on its physiology to adapt it directly. But
How
Mhm.
can it
Sounds like
roar
a
if it
plan.
doesn't have lungs to bring in air to let it out?
that is a good
Indeed.
point.
Indeed.
Nova, is it that screaming? Is it in any way telepathic or similar?
Nova's
I'm sorry, dude, your
response is-
job for you having these thoughts. I do apologise.
Nova at this very point in time is very much a case of, God, I'm hungry. I don't think I've ever been this hungry before. I could really go for something to eat right now.
Looking at Bertram like he's a snack.
Okay.
Yeah, and needless to say, bravo of security as well. Everyone hears his stomach loudly growl. Oh, I'm hungry. Anybody else hungry? Really hungry all of a sudden.
Did I did the quickly check in the tricorder I was scanning with? Did it get any information on its feeding mechanism? Is it fed on the what's it called, force field?
Interesting. Interestingly enough, your tricorder is now malfunctioning. As soon as you started scanning, whilst that creature was feeding on the tricorder, what your tricorder registered was a sudden increase in electromagnetic energy in the area, and that shorted out the tricorder.
Could we get Litude to warp into that room with just like a big old pile of like raw meat?
Do we have raw meat available?
Oh,
It
sure.
doesn't have a digestive system.
We can synthesize it, but not in the room. So if we synthesize it and then warp that into it, and see if it feed on that, because it was looking at us hungrily.
It might just
Is
be
it
the
made
fact
of
that the
matter?
There
I
is
see.
matter to it. The plasma in it is its blood is essentially plasma that acts as nothing more than a way to carry energy. Captain, I'd like to actually, if possible, get as quickly as I can back to my be able to gather as much of the Bertram moss as I can. It may be a way to actually kind of mess with its ability to feed, if not actually drain the energy directly from it. Maybe a way to sort of like poison or anesthetize it energy-wise. But I'm going to need a little time to actually see if I can actually synthesize something.
Let's say about the meat thing.
To
it might
actually
be
get Latu to directly beam me to the science labs, given that we might be on a time limit.
say it might have just been staring at the bionics and the other electrical devices that you have on you, rather than you yourselves as food.
Does the captain give me permission?
Yes, do it.
Okay. Bertram to Latude, please beam me directly to science lab and identify which science lab it is, because Gareth can't remember.
You're going for the botany research station, aren't you?
The botany research station,
Yep,
yes.
Decade.
Okay. I tap the comm and direct Latude to beam me directly there.
Andrews to engineering. Prepare a sample of antimatter, just in case, please.
At which point, Andrews hears a rather sleepy.
Yes, Captain. Sorry, Stevens here, Captain. You said something? Oh, antimatter. Yes, sorry. I really haven't been sleeping lately. I apologize, Captain. I was late to my post. You want me to beam antimatter where?
No, I want a sample of antimatter ready to be beamed in case we need to.
Oh, right. Yes. Sorry, sis. I mean, Captain. Jeez. Yeah. I will get to antimatter storage, and I will see what I can find as soon as possible, Captain. Sorry.
Off she goes. Right, so we are presuming that Bertram is now in botany research, grabbing some of the Bertram moss. Meanwhile, what are the
I
rest
think
of you
we'll
doing?
be established gravity onto this deck as well, apart from that room.
So, could you working
In
on the data?
In fact, can we cycle the gravity on and off in the room
Sure.
to keep it contained? Or increase the gravity?
So it's worth Edwards and Cashin still going through the data, see if it says anything more apart from the do not open, because he says there's a large amount of information, so he can't have just said that.
Yes, indeed. So Keshin's
Do not
currently...
open.
Just
Do not
repeats
open.
it.
If you do, you are stupid. It just repeats over and over again. Do not open. Do not open. Do not open.
Did we mention do not open?
Yeah. If opened, see Rule 2. Rule 2. Follow Rule 1. Do not open.
Yes, so, folks, Captain issues the orders about trying to keep the thing off balance and contained. Eventually, you hear the raking and banging against the door to the secondary science lab stops. And you're not sure if that's more worrying than hearing it incessantly banging against the door. And after a few moments, there's the there's the indelible sound of what sounds like steel being wrenched, ripped open. A great
You're gonna go alien, it's gonna be
screeching
in the
sound as metal is being peeled. And then there's the rather horrible sound of something moving through the vents.
Yeah, I knew it.
Yeah, let's evacuate deck 6, all lockdown,
It's
all
in the walls,
jet tube.
man. It's in the walls.
Nova and Bravo. God, you're hungry.
Oh god, the cat runs. If it gets its way into the cat runs.
So this is why we're locking off the flipping Jeffrey's tubes.
That's what the cat runs were designed for.
If it can peel through one, it'll be able to peel. Okay. Frantically searching through data.
Right then.
Hoping he isn't just saying please don't open over and over again.
Let's go back to the bridge.
Jesus.
Yes, so this is the information being fed back to everybody back on the bridge. I hasten to note that Ensign Jean Eric, your secondary tactical officer, very quickly volunteered to be on this security group. He volunteered
Did we
himself.
actually end up dropping meeting? Did it react in any way to that?
I went with Beam Me to the botany lab, so I didn't do that. Did you still want to do that?
Not now, it's escaped. Don't know where it is.
But if you did want to do it before that, then yes, meat would have been transported in, but you don't know what the result was.
I suppose you could track where it's going and just find out which parts of the system where the energies just drop down.
As far as the translation of the data, let's see. Hessian and Edwards managed to eventually crack open the data that's contained in the transmission, and it's a readout, essentially, almost like a 3D scan of the creature. So you see it in its full bipedal aspect, let's say.
Form.
Not form, because it's all part of the same form, but it's rather than it being pictured on all fours or curled up, it's pictured standing up in profile. There are a number of indicators that suggest biological points of interest that it's trying to draw your attention to, which just reinforce the data that Dr. Bertram has already found out. It is this is data written by some ancient alien species that hasn't been come across before, but nevertheless, they've essentially given a download of the creature's anatomy and indicate that it does feed on energy. The amount of information in this transmission is so dense that it will take Keshen some time to sift all the way through it. So Keshen suggests that if Edwards wants to assist in some fashion with trying to find this thing or stop it, then Keshen can be the one to sift through the data to see if there's anything he can find.
Probably worth sending this to Unit Hello. You might be able to do it at a faster rate to assist you. Get pertinent data about it as well.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. He would probably be showing up as a reasonable snack. The amount of power cores next to his main unit.
That's a very good point. Thank you for reminding me. Back to the corridor. So,
but actually, there's something that Edwards could do to the others actually before it starts. Basically, let's take a quick scan of the ship and basically highlight points of like higher energy that might be potential feeding areas to help the crew on the ground.
Well, the places that in that general area on that deck or series of decks that would give off the most power would be, let's see, it was in the secondary science lag on depth 6. Yes, potentially unit hello, because it's an artificial computer, artificial intelligence computer. Primary computer core is on that deck as well. So either of those. Down on deck 9, there's the Bifrost drive.
Yeah, it'd just be sending the security team just the full list of this is what potential targets for it, just to help them decide what they want to do tactically down there.
Yep, we're locking down decks 5, 6, 7, 8. We are also shutting down as much power from those decks as possible as well.
With full security teams to said decks as well.
I'm trying to find.
That's a question.
Yes, and all the security teams are going to be armed with clubs
Right, you are.
and squirty bottles of water, because that's how you deal with a cat, isn't it?
Actually, that means our Klingon contingent might actually have their day of glory.
Oh god, yeah, there's going to be backlash and
Every security team's going to have Klingons. Why? We need you to drop.
Aha. Something I forgot to use. Audio channel? Environment. And let's try that. Right, did that go? Let's see if this works. That wasn't very loud, was it? Did that play? Didn't play.
Yep, we can hear that.
So, that was environment actually. Pop that one more time. Yes, so, clonk clonk. There's the sound of something writhing around through the tubes, the vents, the ducts, and all of that. So far you are looking to lock down everything on this deck. So emergency bulkheads have been sealed, that kind of thing. Nice. Okay. That is where I was. Nova actually gets a comm beep.
Unit Nova. This unit has detected a presence somewhere nearby. This unit's primary cogitation core may be in imminent danger. Please respond.
On way.
Telling anyone else?
This will be where Bertram comes back. Was Edwards coming down here with something as well?
I think we'll all take sound guns as well as
Yeah, you'd grab stuff.
If possible, if I can couple together kind of non-energy based hyperspray, I'd like to see if I could actually put a sample of Bertram moss in case I could get a chance to inject it into its plasma energy bloodstream.
No
a syringe,
problem.
you mean?
Essentially, yeah, basically.
Gotcha.
Okay.
The thing is trying to work out how was it in suspended animation. What's keeping it like that?
Given it seems to be sort of like kind of some sort of weird hybrid between biological and energy based, it could basically have potentially done a cosmic version of how we see bears hibernate when they pull all their energy and blood reserves in to keep them dormant over the winter. As it's able to survive in space, it might have pulled on its energy sources to basically go into a hibernated state to allow it to live a long time without energy or sustenance, while keeping its actions and energy needs to absolute minimum. That'd be my guess.
Alright, you guys find your way to the primary science labs on this deck, which was where Unit Hello posted its message from. Fizal is elsewhere, so let's Is that Inless or Inkol? That is Inkol. So, folks are locked inside the science lab, and as folks come up... did I say it was Inkol? Yes. Inkol Bravo just comes up to the... can you see him through there? Yeah. Everyone can see all that, right? Yes. So Inkol comes up to the plexiglass between where you are and where he's at inside the lab, and seems to be holding a telepathic conversation with his brother. Therefore, the situation, you imagine, he's brought very quickly up to speed, because it's almost an instantaneous. They just glance at each other, and Inkol nods, and that's when you hear sound of more vents coming open as something emerges. The creature starts prowling forwards on all fours, regarding you all coldly, as its two tendrils are also almost scenting the power coming off of Unit Hello's cores. And it just continues to stalk forwards like a leopard, or a panther, I should say.
Right, if it's animalistic, first of all, going to try intimidation on it then. Be big and scary, make out that it's bigger than it.
From its biological bit, from actually what I saw of its biology, does it actually have a hearing, or is it basically based off telepathy? Because if not, then
sure.
the science guns are just clubs.
You're not sure. The readout that the signal contained was unfortunately very sparse of immediate details. The reasons for this you could hypothesize, but overall, yeah, this creature seems to be an exercise in anachronisms. It has what appears to be ears, not terribly big ears like a cat's, more like smaller, rounder ears on the sides of its head. It's looking very intently at Andrews now, though.
Oh, I am definitely going to try and intimidate it. Do you want a presence of command roll?
Please.
Survival training as a foci?
Sure.
And I'm going to burn a determination on this, and probably also buy some dice with momentum, if I may.
Don't hear any problems with
I
that.
don't object to that.
So I'll buy one die, which is one momentum, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Not great.
It stalks up, regards Andrews, and Andrews does this whole big chest thumping, making myself look big, reaching high up into the air kind of job.
Got my duck tag out as well, like really menacing.
At which point the creature just one of the tendrils is like sniffing in Andrews's direction, but then it looks very much at the door, and then gets up on its back legs, reaches onto the door with its forepaws, essentially digs its claws in, and you see it rip them down as it just peels through the door.
Okay, as it does that, can I attack one of its tendrils?
You can try attacking one of its tendrils. That's going to be rather difficult. But, yeah.
I need to see whether I lose my momentum or not. Which one is it? Veteran? Nope, not that one.
You're attacking a very specific part of it, but...
Oh, it's gone, hasn't it? Because you took the command fling away. Yeah.
Yes, because you want to use First edition rules.
Yeah. So you want then daring and security?
Yep, that's the usual shtick.
Perform task. Use. Roll. Oh, not great again.
Okay, versus. Not great again. Okay, so Andrews takes a swipe at the tendril. Doesn't necessarily get the tendril, but you can still give me the ductard, please. Oh, 3 successes.
And one effect.
Come on and do the ponga. Right,
I'd probably say I'm not fighting passively at this point as well.
Yeah. So, using her combat expertise, Andrews slices, does a cutting slice with the ductard. Doesn't manage to get the tip of the proboscis itself, but does manage to get into the thicker part closer to the creature, which means you'll have to be about here-ish.
Yeah, that's fine.
And getting more into where it joins the muscle of the shoulder, and you get a thin gash, like if you've ever tried to cut through. Let me think of a good analogy. Ever tried to cut through hardened leather? It leaves a trail, but it's so thick that all you've got is the surface level gash, as it were. So 3 successes, 1 effect. Yeah, vicious, which means it's actually 1. So you managed to do something. But the creature then really does a spin around and regard you, and that's what makes it its turn now. So I'm going to add you, and I'm going to add Bertram, I'm going to add Nova. We had activated somebody, hadn't we? Who was it? It was Keshan. So for the moment, we're going to leave the NPCs off to one side.
Died, so give me a sec to get back in.
Problemski. So who have I got in initiative? I got Bertram, I got Nova, I got Edwards, I got Andrews, I got the Beast. So, Andrews started us off. The Beast is going to answer.
Even with quick to action.
Oh yeah, if you are, yeah, absolutely. Quick to action.
Oh yeah.
Who next?
Out of this group, I'm the one that really doesn't want to get energy drained.
Who next then? Quick to action. So, yeah, you guys can keep the initiative, or retain the initiative, as it says there.
Nova
I think
can go in and then kick it.
Yeah, are we saying that we've activated Cruz, Bravo, and Claw at least as well?
If you want to, you can.
Well, Cruz has been actively involved in the mission, so I'd
She
say that
hasn't
she's
made any rolls yet, so I haven't taken her off of the crew support, so she's still yet to take any action. But she's definitely keen. It's up to you if you want to activate her.
Yeah, I think so.
And
I think probably the people in the corridor are going to be activated at this point.
Okay, and
I think
Claude.
Claw, especially with it being a security issue.
Yeah, well, Bravo should be the security issue. Claw's
Yeah,
just big hunk of rock. Claw could just punch it with his
Claw's
fist.
Clawed.
Yeah,
That's the
Claw's
point.
Claw.
He can just punch it. He's made of rock.
The captain's
Claw.
priority.
Rock beats cat.
Yeah, rock beats cat.
Okay.
Star Trek rock
I
beats
see
everything.
that you played rock, scissors, cats before.
Alright, so, cool. Judas has been. Nova was going next.
Unless you want Claw or somebody.
No.
Nova's definitely feeling an overwhelming sense of
Snack time.
animal predatory instinct starting to rise up within her here. Not only is she hungry, she's now feeling the creature's aggression very, very powerfully.
I guess she's going in with the dagger. I guess doesn't really make a lot of difference. No, I'll stick to unarmed because I think she'll end up biting it at some point. So.
Full on cat mode.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dare. Secure. Yeah. Focused. Go.
3. 1 over and above. So it's usually 2. If I just put that back in the pool, it's usually 2 to up the damage by 1. So.
Blah.
So you've done 4. So
Only effect
again,
me biting it.
so yeah, Nova charges in and for some reason just feels the need to sink her teeth, and her teeth do sink a bit, but again, really thick hide here. It's like biting into toughened leather.
Yeah, but it knows I did it.
Yes. Next.
Sent the message.
Show dominance.
Calm down, Maurice.
Crazy old Maurice. Alright. Bertram, Bravo, Clot, Edwards, Cruz, Erienne. Who next?
Wouldn't mind giving a go.
Edvato. Okie dokie.
I'll keep it. Nova, the cat ears are just for show. She's not actually. Yeah. Basically, considering I don't know what type of consideration what would be equivalent of, he's basically going to try and tune it to a feline-based species for the thing. Yes, I am well aware there is a chance of someone get caught in. So he's basically trying to aim it away from no, is it cursed? Yeah, cursed. So
Okay, yep.
and that's control and security,
Yes, please.
or daring.
Control, because you're using a device. Thank you, Shaun. That
I
was
have
the GIF I was going for, yes. Whoa, slow down, Maurice. Did that go through?
Something's gone wrong.
I haven't seen anything from Edwards, if that was what you were doing.
Give me a
Control and
sec.
security.
Oh crap! Sorry, my computer is saying no. I had done it. I may have to quickly restart.
Okay, no problem.
Give me a sec.
Giving you a sec. I'm gonna have to watch Beauty and the Beast now, because all I've got is crazy old Maurice. I've got an idea. Who else thought Emma Watson's Beauty and the Beast live-action remake was a mistake?
As is most Disney remakes, but hey, you know.
So 90% there's no live action of it, no problem.
I heard, just to go off topic for a moment whilst Alex is busy signing back in, that it was, they only did it mostly so they could reinforce the copyright or some such? It was a way of renewing the copyright?
What's renewing copyright?
The
re-releasing the movie is that they basically can retake ownership of the copyright.
Which movie?
All of the
any
historic
of the
classics.
Disney stuff, yeah.
But Beauty
Oh,
and the Beast
you
isn't
mean
that old.
the remakes?
that's what
the
I was thinking.
live action things, yeah.
Snow White and Snow White was coming up for end of license.
They don't want to lose, like they did with the Year-Old and Mickey.
They haven't. The only thing that they've lost the rights to is Steamboat Willie.
Yeah,
He's now
that version of
public
Mickey
domain.
Mouse.
But Mickey Mouse himself is still
Yeah,
Very much
as
has
long as he's
Mouse.
black and white, he's free use. If he's in red, then he isn't.
Matt, little present for you in the Discord.
Thank you.
Okay, so prepare to duel.
It's time to do.
Okay, let's try that again now.
Yes, please. That's better. A 2 and a 16, very good. 1 success, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's not enough.
So that's more of a wild shot. The beast does respond. You've triggered my trap card, yes indeed. The beast does respond by, it seems to recoil a little bit from the sound blast and just basically roars at Edwards in response.
Damn it, Webby, you beat me to it.
Who next? We got Bertram, we got Bravo, we got Claude, Cruz, Eric.
Yeah. Bertram can see if he can try and inject in his Bertram Moss anesthetic, as I'm calling it.
Nova hisses at
know
Edwards
the
like a cat. Yes, this is actually more,
No,
more of
like
a
a
compulsion
car.
than she thought.
It's like a car, so it's like I don't know how cars hiss unless the head gasket's gone.
I'm pretty sure you do know how it does this.
You just let the air out the tyres, don't you? It goes like this.
It's a hiss and then
Sound
beep
of
beep.
disappointment. Oh no, I'm being deflated.
Which explains why Nova charged the beast and went.
You haven't got the engine upgrades?
Nova just comes in, brum brum, motherfucker!
Next! Oh, Bertram.
Yeah.
Bertram can try. It's getting awfully crowded over here, but yes.
I say if you get a complication, that means you inject yourself.
Daring in medicine, I'm afraid.
Okay. Can I use xenobiology as
Guesswork?
I'm trying to actually. Yep. Okay. In that case,
If I stab it by here.
Yeah. Well, given I took a scan of where its circulatory system was earlier, which is why I'm trying to get into it, so I'm gonna throw the Cochrane Medal of Excellence in and spend a determination on balance of science and nature.
Interesting. Okay. Remember to make a note of your use of your value in order that it made you act in this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right,
it's one die. It's dedicated focus, and we have to add another one after it because of the Cochrane thing, which I don't think I can actually do other than just by adding it mentally afterwards. Is that right?
Sounds about right.
Okay.
What episode number is this?
This would be 55?
And what's it called?
On Ice.
Space
that's
Yeah.
fine.
Give me a sec, I just want to make absolutely sure that I got the episode number correct. You know what, never mind, I'll find that out next time.
On ice in
3
space.
successes!
Covered in bees.
That's 5 successes because
5
of
in
the
total.
Medal of Excellence.
Yes. Pardon. Interesting. You jab it in. Bertram managed to jab it in where he thinks would be a good place to go, and then depresses the depressor.
Yeah.
Stabs it and injects the moss. The beast reacts as if something very uncomfortable went right down its spine, like you just injected ice water into its vein, and it gives this weird kind of shudder. But overall, what effect it's having on the creature is not entirely obvious. if any. You might have to wait and see.
Yeah, if it's acting like some sort of toxin or something like that, it might drain it over time if we're lucky.
But it's in there. You managed it. So I'm going to have to make a note of that with a trait.
Either that or Bertram has now just caused it to have a blood clot. Or it's sort of like, when you when you mix the wrong types of bloods. I can't think what it's called, where the blood clots.
Does it go to like some sort of
I
sort
know
of
what you
toxic
mean,
shock?
because it's for heart failure, congestion in the artery.
Oh God.
Well, it's if you inject the wrong blood type into people, the blood clots.
Right.
I
It's
can't
a
think what it's called.
It's a
No, I don't know.
hemolytic transfusion reaction.
Yes.
Essentially, it
Dr.
triggers
Google.
your immune system on. Yeah, basically, it starts attacking the mismatched blood. So essentially, your body goes to war with the blood in the circulatory system.
Yeah, and it causes all of your blood to basically turn to goop.
This blood is turning into a liquid polymer. Name that episode, and I'll give you an automatic
This
success on
scientifically
the next
speaking
action you
is a messy
take.
group. Right, that's my turn done.
Okay. Bravo, Claw, Cruise, Eric. What they doing? If anything. Or are they going to hang back for the moment and see what happens?
I think Claude would get involved. I think Bravo would get involved.
Cruise
Bravo's
is
got a
definitely
knife.
up for getting involved, as is Eric.
I know. Bravo's unhanded. Yeah, Claude unhanded.
And this is the Chekhov's gun comes in, where the particles that Cruz got by licking the fin earlier turn out to be specifically designed to restrain the creature.
I think it would be a case of it's just now people are just trying to pin it to the ground.
Restrain it almost. Gotcha.
Yeah, restrain it. So it's like and stop its its tendrils from jabbing anything.
Okay. Well, which one of them is going first? The big guy? Or the slightly less big guy? Nominate.
I'd say let's go for Claw.
Okay.
I am Claude. Not sure what I even do. Punch it, or try and restrain it.
Restraint, I think. Keep it where it is, just in case it breaks away.
Well, that sounds
I
like
saw the dice roll, but didn't see anything come through then. But if that might have just been a late dice from Bertram.
I'm not seeing anything come through.
Do you know
that
what?
might be because I put
Think
it in
about that.
private. But this is daring and security for Mr. Claude, please. If he has... he does have hand-to-hand, doesn't he? Yes, he does.
He does, yeah.
Off you go.
Daring security,
Please.
hand-to-hand focus, and I am Claude.
Okay.
Use focus, one die, use determination value. How much momentum we got? I'm going to spend momentum
6.
as well. I am Claude.
Nice. 2, 3. Can I get you to roll for unarmed combat then, just to inflict stress? You can spend. You got 2 momentum over and above what you needed. You can spend one of those to re-roll those blank die.
Yeah. 5 then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Reroll.
So I'll put that back in because there was some extra. So that's 1, 2, 3. 3 successes, 3 effects.
3 successes, 3 effects. Yeah.
Okay. It's difficult to get a hold of
It's
this
where
thing.
It's just where Claude just bear hugs it though, and just holding both of its tendrils back behind its ears, you know, like. Argh.
Yeah, absolutely. Oops, hang on a second. What's going on here? I am reading dropped frames by the many. Have I lost connection to... Nope,
Comet
back.
Beast is eating your bandwidth.
Yeah, he's eating my bandwidth too, the little bastard. I made this creature a little too well. It's taken on a life of its own. Hell's bells.
That's what happens when you give it the focus, break the fourth wall.
Right, so Claude manages to get a hold of it, but the hold appears tenuous. We still have Bravo, Cruz, and Eric to go, so with Webby having gone, can someone nominate themselves? I mean, Alex, if you want to be Bravo, please.
Okay.
People are trying to restrain it now, so...
I was just running up and just grabbing it.
Essentially, yes.
Oh, that's Bravo Science, wrong one.
This one. Okra. So this is going to be daring and security.
Hand-to-hand combat?
Yes, please. Two successes. Nice. Can I get you to roll the damage for unarmed combat for Mr. Security himself here, please? Ooh, he did very well. Let's see. He manages to
8 successes
get...
on 6 dice.
Yes,
Bravo
yes.
bomb! Bravo bomb!
Yeah, he definitely managed to grab secure hold of some limbs. So he's got a good old grip on it. Cruz and Eric. Cruz and Eric are practically falling over each other trying to get into this scuffle as well. So who goes first between of the two of them?
Cruz.
Cruz. Right then, Shaun, if you'd like to be Cruz, please.
It's just scrappy.
She is.
I suppose since everybody else seems to be getting on in there, why not? Daring security. She's got unarmed combat. So
She does.
cool.
She follows her mentor very closely. Okay.
Yeah,
The sheer
fair
amount
enough.
of bodies now is becoming difficult. This thing is writhing, thrashing. There's tendrils, there's claws, there's legs and arms going everywhere. Everyone's trying to pin this thing down or inject something into it, or in Nova's case, bite it. Cruz considers the biting for a second and then goes, yeah, maybe not. And instead tries to go for a limb, but this thing is writhing. I mean, anybody who's ever tried putting a cat in a bath knows what they're up against here on a large scale. So Cruz is having a very hard time actually finding purchase on this slippery beggar. Well, no, she's not. Nobody else has tried putting Kirst into a bath, I'll tell you that much.
Do I reckon Kirst looks like she's sort of like working on, tapping on the codes and is looking at the door going, what the hell are they doing in there?
Yeah. Which means, last but by no means least, is Ensign Eric, which means Gareth, you're up for this guy. Which I find ironic.
Given that there's sort of no real sort of room for him to actually get there and do anything, I'm
It's gonna
wondering
go
if
low.
it.
Yeah, go on.
I was thinking more maybe could he sort of like go up there and prepare an action that if the beast sort of like latches on to someone and starts feeding off them, he can immediately try and pull them away before it drains them.
I like that. Okay, yeah. So he positions himself ready to dive in.
Yep.
Edwards, who's very close by to Eric, can actually... Gee, I'm losing connection again. Not doing very well
Can't be
tonight.
stop that.
Edwards can actually hear Ensign Eric going, this'll show him all. I can do this, I can do this. But now it's the beast's turn to do swoon. Thank you.
Except Bertram, though, not.
Okay. I am gonna go for... Oh, hello. Right. So, everyone has been either slashing. So Andrews slashed at it, did something, very little something, but something. Nova went up and sank her teeth into the thing. Again, may have done something, very little something, but something nonetheless. Bertram managed to inject the Bertram moss into the thing. What effect that's going to have is yet to be determined. Lloyd tried his best to get in there and seems to have managed to grab hold of the thing, but is having the devil of a time trying to actually latch onto it. But that allowed Bravo, Chief of Security, to come diving in and tried restraining it by grabbing its lower limbs. Cruz unfortunately failed to actually grab anything, with the sheer amount of bodies now around the place. The creature, like I said, is very nimble. Like most felines, it's able to twist its body in very elastic ways. And so it actually wriggles, writhes, twists, and manages to yank its legs free from Bravo, climbs up Claude in order to get over on top of his head, and then leaps free. In which case, it is now inside of the lab. Is darting, looks back at the people who have tried restraining it, then looks over in the direction of Unit Hello's core, and starts using its minor action to start galloping almost in the direction of Unit Hello. This triggers Unit Hello with an action.
What's that?
A giant boxing glove on the spin bursts out of the wall.
Alert! Alert! This unit's continued function is at risk. Accessing warp core. Accessing inertial dampers. Engage.
There's the sudden whine heard and felt throughout the ship as the warp engines engage, and this shouldn't ordinarily feel like anything more than a slight vibration of the deck plates. But then you feel the inertial dampers lessen, and then you're left with the horrified realization that you can now feel the acceleration of the ship as everyone gets suddenly propelled in this direction. And essentially everyone goes either smack into plexiglass, through a door. Everyone in this area goes as a heap in that direction. Jenny and them
I'm on
and
the
the
bottom of
beast.
that heap.
What was that, sorry?
I think I'm on the bottom, considering where
Yes.
Edwards was.
So you had the sonic weapon, now you're seeing everybody come at you as a wall of people. And the beast, of course, gets thrown backwards as well. Pretty much everybody feels it as the inertial dampers go off. Not off, but they get lessened to the point where everybody gets thrown against this specific bulkhead, and you all are pinned there in a heap.
It's going to be everyone on the ship, though, as well, isn't it? Not just
Pretty
us.
much. The beast itself lands in amongst the heap, but then as you watch, its veins start to pulse again as it seems to channel that energy inside of its body outwards into essentially its musculature, and it increases in size. It just swells and bulges, at which point it just digs its claws into the bulkhead and drags itself forwards, but heaves open a door and drags itself through, whilst the rest of you are still very much still pinned against the bulkhead, feeling the feeling the the inertia of the ship at high speed. The creature has gotten away for now, and you're all pinned to the bulkhead because, well, you could be wrong, but it seems like Unit Hello just panicked. And that is where I'm going to leave today's episode, or this session of today's episode. And so,
Someone's going to have some very stern words with Unit Hello.
Yeah, I can't believe he attacked my cat.
bad Unit Hello. That was my kitty. So, yes. This creature was, well, how this creature found its way into a pod, who the people were that put the message on and said, beware, do not open, when it was, opened, is a mystery we have yet to solve. But can Lieutenant Keshan decipher or manage to read through the pertinent notes of all of that data that's being transmitted from the pod? How exactly are we going to stop a creature that can drain energy? Maybe the efforts of Dr. Bertram, by injecting the Bertram moss into it, will have an effect to try and stop it. We will have to wait and see. But for now, you've got some kind of morphic creature that can drain energy loose on the ship, and it is rather aggressive. How the crew will manage to stop it, contain it, jettison it off the ship, I'm afraid we're going to have to wait until next week to find out. So first of all, let me just check that everybody is available for next week, the 27th of May. My God, May's nearly over.
I believe so.
I'm away, but should be able to make.
You're away, but should be able to make it. So you're going to be, talking to us from Germany again?
No, only York.
York. Okay, not that far. Alright then. In that case, hopefully we will see our XO, who's going to have to be brought up to speed on what's been going on next time. Until then...
She's asking to bring us back a pizza.
Yeah. Until then, we apologise for any interference we may have experienced on the transmission of what's going on today. Not entirely certain what's been going on there, but hey, we'll have to. Maybe there's some trouble on the line, or indeed, as Gareth pointed out, maybe the beast itself is draining the bandwidth. That's how it powered itself up. Who knows, or dares to
It's
dream.
not satisfied with fictional energy.
So, we will ask you kindly to do like the Vulcans do, which is to live long and prosper. But seeing as none of our Vulcan crew members have actually gotten any airtime in this particular episode, we'll just have to assume that you assume the crash position when the ship AI hits the accelerator. But please also engage in infinite diversity and infinite combinations, because this world needs more tolerance, not less, at this point in time, methinks. But until we are joined next week by yourselves, I wish you all the best, to look after and take care of each other. And until then, hailing frequencies are now closed. Thank you very much for watching.